Okay, perfect. Good afternoon. You're tuning into the Board of County Commissioners. It is Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. It is 2:05 p.m. This is a virtual meeting. For public attendance, you may follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel or join by calling 360-252-9020, pin number 1234. I'm calling this meeting to order. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards. I am Carolina Mejia. I apologize. I did not do introductions today. I'm Carolina Mejia, Chair of the Board. Vice Chair Ty Menser is excused for this week. Commissioner Gary Edwards is joining us in the boardroom, as well as County Manager Ramiro Chavez and Clerk of the Board Amy Davis. Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell is joining us via Zoom, as well as many other staff members. Okay, now we can, the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards. Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, is there a motion for the approval of the Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022 agenda?
Yes, ma'am. I move to approve the agenda for Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022.
I second. And is there any discussion?
No discussion.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menser is excused. Commissioner Mejia.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, moving on. Is there approval of the board meeting minutes from February 15th, 2022?
Yes, ma'am. I move to approve the board meeting minutes from February 15th, 2022.
I'll second. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menser is excused. Commissioner Mejia.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have a presentation today from Public Works, and it's the introduction of new Public Works employees, and I see the Director of Public Works, Jennifer Walker.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Again, Jennifer Walker, Public Works Director, and I am pleased to introduce 3 new members to the Public Works team, and I will start with Keith. So Keith Pauley is an environmental operations technician in our solid waste division. His primary duties are to monitor groundwater, landfill leachate, and landfill gas and stormwater at our waste and recovery center. He also will be performing maintenance activities related to the closed landfill and working with our asset manager to inventory the solid waste division's assets. Keith recently moved from San Marcos, California, and before coming to Thurston County, he spent 8 years in landfill gas extraction, working for municipal and private companies around the San Diego and Orange County area. He enjoys being outdoors and grilling for friends and family, and is recently starting up snowboarding again. And I am unable to tell on my screen if he is on camera, but Keith, Jahan, and Jerry, if you could all turn your cameras on, that would be fantastic. Thank you. And let's see, so next up we have Jahan Grettenberger, and she is an education and outreach specialist too in the department's communication and outreach team. Her primary responsibility will be creating recycling and waste reduction outreach programs for business and county government offices. She grew up in Olympia and spent 2.5 years in Panama as part of the Peace Corps, and recently returned in 2018 and worked for Lot Clean Water Alliance as a part of their education team. So she brings an extensive experience in stakeholder engagement, and specifically in Thurston County, and has a passion for waste reduction. She was also a former intern in our solid waste division for recycling and waste reduction, and is currently serves as the vice chair on the Intercity Transit Community Advisory Committee as well. And then rounding out this fabulous group is Jerry Mills. Jerry is an accounting assistant 3 in our financial and asset management team. She will be providing payroll and parks and trails financial support, as well as water and sewer utility customer service assistance. Jerry grew up in Augusta, Georgia, and moved here in 2013. She came to us from Liberty Military Housing at Joint Base Lewis McChord as an executive assistant, and has a strong background in accounting and employee benefits and contract administration. So we all know it's very challenging recruiting times right now, and very pleased that these 3 people chose to come and work for Thurston County.
Thank you, Jennifer. Commissioner Edwards, any comments?
No words of wisdom, just they've chosen a good place to go to work, and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you very much for joining us, and welcome.
Yes, welcome. It's exciting to have you here, and very nice to meet you all, and hopefully I'll meet you one day in person. Okay, thank you so much, Jennifer. County Manager, anything you would like to add?
No, I'd just like to echo the words of the commissioners. This is a fantastic place to work.
Sir, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, because I don't have my microphone on. Thank you. I just want to echo what the commissioner stated today. Welcome to Thurston County government. You will find this is a great place to work, and you will be nothing but successful. So welcome aboard.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will move on for the opportunity for the public to address the board. There are some guidelines for public comments, and the guidelines are: the Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows: please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones. The board does not respond to public comments on a need basis. The county manager will follow up with specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as a promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request, pursuant to the Public Records Act, RCW 4256. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board and appeal. Thank you again for your cooperation. And so I'll hand it off to the county manager to call.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be calling first the individuals that I have on my Zoom screen, and I will call you based on the order that I see you listed. First that I have on my Zoom screen is Mr. Mark Manager. Please go ahead, sir. You have 4 minutes.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my video is not working, or camera's not working. My name is Mark Meininger. I live in the urban growth area of Lacey in Thurston County, and I'm a member of the Patterson Lake Association Steering Committee. As you know, we've petitioned the county to become a lake management district because nutrient pollution is deteriorating the quality of our lake water. There's lots of reasons, probably a combination of excessive use of fertilizers, warmer water temperatures, stormwater runoff, poor erosion control, some bad septic systems perhaps, and possibly contaminated groundwater. What we've seen is as the nutrients have gone up, so has the aquatic weeds, nuisance aquatic plants, and noxious weeds. And one example you may have heard of is the yellow flag iris. It's poisonous and can sicken animals. and causes skin irritation in humans. And over the past few years, another problem has gotten a lot worse, the increase in the blue-green algae blooms, and they're a health hazard too. They produce toxins and bacteria. They make pets sick, they make children sick, and even adults in some cases. And it's led the state and the county to prohibit fishing and swimming in Pattison for weeks at a time. Our neighbors at Hicks Lake and Long Lake have lake management districts and are working to help their lakes, keep their lakes clean. With your help in approving our petition, we'll be able to work with experts at the county and protect and enhance Pattison Lake too. Thank you for your time.
Sir, if I may, do you mention that you have submitted a petition to the county? When was that? I don't recall receiving any petition.
I'm not sure if it's gotten to you yet. I know we've been working.
Oh, you're in the works. Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Please mute yourself, sir, so we can move on with the public testimony. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next that I have on my screen is Ms. Christina Janes.
Good afternoon. No comment for today. Wish you guys all a good day out there.
Thank you. Next, I have Mr. Dale Clark. Mr. Clark? Now, next I have Mr. David McAfee.
Hello, no comment from me as well.
Thank you. Next, I have Mr. Gregory Moe. Greg? None. Next, I have Mr. Joe Hanna.
Yes, I will be making comment today.
Please go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Joe Hanna, East Olympia farmer. I'm here today in my role as Ag Advisory Chair. Last week, you asked us to provide input in regards to the 2 farmer member applicants that we had available to us at our meeting on Thursday night. We did forward those recommendations to you in regards to each. One with, and we did a very simple recommendation this time due to questions related to prior recommendations. Glenn Charno, we voted to approve and make the recommendation to approve Glenn Charno. And then for Chris Dolman, at this time, and I want to throw that caveat in there for you, at this time, our recommendation is not to approve. I will be submitting written response to the letter of resignations that have been submitted to you from the 3 members that resigned, as they do have direct attacks on me in them. But I will submit that to each of you individually in writing. And then finally, one thing that did come out of the meeting last Thursday as a result of those letters of resignation is that there's very much concern on the committee about the level of information that those 3 prior members seem to have related to what level of information the rest of the committee has, including myself as the chair. I've spoken to each of you individually related to references made in those letters of resignation, and we're told that the specific items were things that you were not going to discuss. Yet it seems that they have some very specific information. So I wanted to relate that to all of you and be sure that you were aware that the committee had very much concern about the level of information those 3 members had that the rest of the committee did. And that's all I have to say today. Thank you very much and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have on my Zoom screen. Let me check the conference call. Good afternoon for those members of the public who have joined us via conference call this afternoon. If you would like to provide public testimony this afternoon, please unmute yourself, state your name, where you reside in the county. You have 4 minutes. No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Can we remove the timer, please?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, with that, we'll go to county manager's update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to follow up to a public testimony you received from Ms. Jody Elliott. She's a county employee last week, and she was making a reference of the testing requirements in lieu of vaccination requirements the county imposed last year. As a follow-up to that conversation, the board engaged in that conversation, the board, Commissioner Mejia, Commissioner Edwards this morning. And the result of that, as I suggested this morning, that perhaps the board needs to consider as a full board, not just one aspect of that resolution, but perhaps a larger context in relation to the recent governor's mandate. The masking will for indoors will be lifted on March 21st, and also how the L&I will be put up some requirements for the county as we move forward. So I'm planning to bring this larger conversation with the board when Commissioner Minzer is able, hopefully by next Tuesday during agenda setting. That's one. And the other item that I'd like to highlight, this is great news. This morning I got an email, and an email is from the Washington Economic Development Association, also known as WED, I believe. And they went through the process of determining what is the Development Awards program as part of this year's. So I am glad to report our own Jenica Machado was selected to be honored with the 2022 Emerging Professional in Economic Development Award. Congratulations to Jenica. Jenica was nominated by the Economic Development Council Executive Director, Michael Cade. And the award will be given to Jenica next Wednesday, March 2nd, at 3 in the afternoon here at the Olympia Capitol Lake Hotel. So congratulations to Jenica, well-deserved accolade. I think she's doing a fantastic job for the county, and I'm glad it has come to a point to be recognized at the statewide level. So hopefully she's listening to this conversation, so congratulations, Jenica. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you, sir. Comments, questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, I echo the county manager's sentiments completely. Thank you. Good luck. Thanks a lot, Jenica.
Yes, congratulations, Jenica. Okay, with that, we'll move on to consent items A through C. Is there a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I would move to approve consent items A through C.
I'll second. And is there any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
I would like to point out to the public that might have missed our meeting this morning that we have some very interesting discussions on all of these topics before they get to this point. And so if you want to hear those discussions, actually take a look at our YouTube meeting agenda setting at 9 o'clock this morning, starting at 9, and I think it went until noon this morning. So that's where all the real discussion takes place, and it might look like we're not taking much time on this, but I can assure you we've discussed all of these items many times. Thank you, ma'am. That's it.
No, thank you, sir. Okay, with that, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Minzer is excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to department items. And that is Community Planning and Economic Development, item 4A. Amendment to professional services contract number 415 for the Habitat Conservation Plan Environmental Impact Statement. And Christina is here. Go ahead. You're on mute.
That's what happens when you're off for 2 days. Good afternoon, Board. Christina Chapeau, Interim Community Planning Manager with Community Planning and Economic Development Department. Staff is here today to request an amendment to contract number 4-15 with Confluence Environmental Company. The contract is to fund the development of the environmental impact statement and associated documents for the multi-species habitat conservation plan. And the purpose of the amendment is to add $3,500 to the existing contract to continue and finalize the work on the environmental impact statement and associated documents. The added funding is covered by the Section 6 grant from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The EIS is required as part of the approval process for the Thurston County Habitat Conservation Plan under the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, and the State Environmental Policy Act, SEPA. Substantial work has been completed, including the issuance of a draft EIS. However, the initial budget was developed in 2015, and additional work not anticipated with U.S. Fish and Wildlife was necessary during the drafting of the EIS. To complete the final EIS, an increase in the budget is required. The contract amendment supports Strategic Initiatives 6 and 7. That concludes my statement.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
Just for the public, maybe just let them know that we're adding, we might be adding $3,500 to an existing contract that's been in the works since 2015, and that dollar amount was $472,000. So just for clarification, I think I got that right. Did I get that right, Christina?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm prepared for a motion.
Go ahead, sir.
I would move to approve the amendment to contract number 4-15 with Confluence Environmental Company to add $3,500 to the existing contract using funds from the Section 6 grant received from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for a maximum consideration not to exceed $472,302, and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development Department to sign the contract and future amendments that do not exceed 10%.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer is excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to item 5, District Court, request for proposals for District Court substance abuse monitoring. And Frankie Peters, I'll go ahead and hand it off to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mejia, and good afternoon to the board. Thanks so much for having me this afternoon. The Board of County Commissioners has approved funding for the 2022-2023 biennium to support the implementation of a substance abuse monitoring program for District Court in the amount of $500,000. The program was agreed to be funded through the American Rescue Plan Act, supporting the need to limit appearances at the courthouse complex and decreasing jail populations that are due to non-compliance of court-ordered conditions, those being as a result of a person's inability to pay. This program will fund urinalysis testing and blood alcohol monitoring device installation and reporting, with services to be provided and supported by the selected third-party vendor. The contract will be through our current biennium with the option of 1-year extensions to the contract if future approval and funding is provided. And at this stage in the process, District Court is requesting the board approve and authorize the posting of the request for proposal for the District Court Substance Abuse Monitoring Program. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to take those.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No commissioners. I heard no questions. I'm prepared to make a motion, Chair.
Go ahead, sir.
I would move to authorize the Court Executive Officer of District Court to issue the request for proposals for District Court substance abuse monitoring, seeking qualified proposals to provide monitoring services funded by ARPA allocations, designated to district court by the Board of County Commissioners for the 2022-2023 biennium.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer is excused, Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you so much, Frankie.
Thank you, commissioners.
Item 6, juvenile court probation. This is the sole source professional services contract with Heartstrides Therapeutic Horsemanship. And I see Ted Bryan.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioner Mejia, Commissioner Edwards, and everyone else. Again, we're seeking approval of Heartstrides Ranch, Therapeutic Horsemanship Ranch, as a sole source provider for therapeutic horsemanship for our mentally ill youth and other youth as well. We've had this program under the treatment sales tax for a number of years. It's proved extremely effective in dealing with youth, building self-esteem, teamwork, partnership, and a sense of community. And we need this approved as a sole source so we can move forward with this program.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards, questions?
No questions, ma'am.
Okay. Is there?
Yes, there is a motion. Something happened to the sound?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay.
Okay, ready to go?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I would move to approve the sole source professional services contract with Heartstrides Therapeutic Horsemanship and Juvenile Court in the amount of $53,120 annually for January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer is excused, Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.
With that, we'll move on to item 7, Public Health and Social Services. Item 7A is interlocal agreement with City of Olympia for property acquisition. And I see Tom Webster.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tom Webster, Manager of the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention. So we're here to ask your approval to sign an interlocal agreement with the City of Olympia regarding the acquisition and development of a property on Franz Anderson Road in Olympia to be used to address unsheltered homeless individuals living along Ensign Road and to create a safe parking for RVs, which will eventually be developed into permanent housing. So this interlocal agreement builds on a memorandum of understanding that the county signed in December of this past year to move forward with this activity with the City of Olympia. City of Olympia has obtained an appraisal for the property and agreed upon sales price of $1,685,000. And the interlocal agreement commits the county to pay 50% of the purchase price, as well as 50% of the cost to develop the site for safe parking. The long-term purpose of the property will, in terms of the operating and maintenance of the property, will fall under the Regional Housing Council, and additional funding will need to be recommended by the Regional Housing Council. Funding for this will come under the American Rescue Plan Act that the county received. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, ma'am.
Is there a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I would move to approve the interlocal agreement with the City of Olympia regarding the acquisition and development of property on Franz and Anderson Road in Olympia, and authorize the county manager to sign the agreement.
I'll second. Is there any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear Amy for a second. Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the second Public Health and Social Services item, 7B, Memorandum of Understanding for Community Development Block Grant entitlement funds, and Jacinda is here. Go ahead.
Jacinda Stouches with the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am here to present about the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between Thurston County and the South Thurston County jurisdictions of Yelm, Tenino, Rainier, Bakota, and unincorporated South Thurston County for CDBG, Community Development Block Grant funding. And as a reminder, the South County jurisdictions will be administering those funding or selecting projects, for that funding in this year, 2022, with an upcoming RFP being released later this week. And I am available if anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards, questions?
No questions, and I'm prepared to make a motion.
Go ahead, sir.
I would move to approve the Memorandum of Understanding between Thurston County and the cities of Rainier, Yelm, and Tenino, and the town of Bakota to participate in and receive funds under the Federal Community Development Block Grant Program for the program years 2022 and 2024, and authorize the chair of the Board of County Commissioners to sign the agreement.
Thank you, sir. I'll second. And it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser is excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, with that, I'll move on to item 8, Public Works. 8A is contract award for Lake Lord Submerged Aquatic Vegetation Control. And Paula is here. Go ahead, Paula.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Paula Cracknell, Aquatic Resource Specialist for Thurston County Public Works, and I'm here today to present on the contract award for Lake Lawrence Submerged Aquatic Vegetation Control. On January 13th, 2022, a total of 3 proposals were received by companies specializing in aquatic pesticide applications to perform submerged aquatic vegetation control for the Long Lake Management District. The proposals were received in response to the request for the proposal that was advertised on December 16th, 2021. Public Works evaluated and scored the proposals based on the contractor's qualifications, experience, field and data recording expertise, and reasonable cost estimates. The proposals were equitably reviewed by a panel of 3 Public Works employees, and the highest scoring contractor was chosen. The highest ranking proposal was received from Aquatechnics LLC of Centralia, Washington. This contract will provide for planning and implementing aquatic vegetation control using herbicides applied following Thurston County's Integrated Pest Management Program policy, and will follow the guidelines for Washington State Department of Ecology's Aquatic Plant and Algae Management Permit, which Thurston County manages and maintains. The herbicide applications will reduce excess vegetation, including noxious weeds, which negatively impact water quality and reduce recreational opportunities on Lake Lawrence. The herbicide application projects and treatment areas will be determined by county staff, the LMD steering committee volunteers who work in partnership to complete work plans and improve and preserve the health of Lake Lawrence. Funding for this contract will be provided by the Lake Lawrence Management District's annual budget. This action is in alignment with the county strategic plan initiative 9 to support environmental health and climate stabilization. With that, do you have any questions?
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
The only thing I'd ask, Paul, I think you said Long Lake, and I think this first one is Lawrence Lake. Is that right?
Lake Lawrence.
Oh, okay. Maybe maybe the mic wasn't working good. Thank you. No
It's
questions.
okay.
No questions.
I could have said it wrong too.
Okay. So with the next 2 items, I guess I'll just, I do have some concerns about these 2 next items. I understand the timing is of the essence when it comes to these contracts, but staff is ultimately responsible for how these contracts are executed. So with that, I'm willing to move forward on this. I do have some requests for the following 2 items though, and that is that I would request for a board briefing from Public Works staff in regards to the IVAMPs which is the Integrated Aquatic Vegetation Management Plans for the public to understand. I had to write that one out too because it was Public Works and their but I do have that request because I want to see how this is moving forward.
Commissioner Mejia, if I may, Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager for Public Works. Staff would be very supportive of putting together and providing a briefing to talk about the IVAMPs in more detail.
Thank you, Tim.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, with that, is there a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I would move to approve the contract for Lake Lawrence Submerged Aquatic Vegetation Control to Aqua Technics, LLC of Centralia, Washington, for an amount not to exceed $350,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract.
I'll second. Sorry, that's me again. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I guess if there was any discussion, I'd just add to it that this money is money that the Lake District folks raised at their, and so they're spending their own money on this particular project of lake cleanup. That's it. Thank you. I'm ready for a motion.
I'll call for the vote, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentor is excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Kind of weird when there's only two of us. I feel like it throws it off.
Yes, it does it throws the timing off.
Okay. And then Paula, I'll hand it back to you for item B, which is contract award for Long Lake Submerged Aquatic Vegetation Control.
Thank you, Commissioner. So now I'd like to present the contract award for Long Lake and for a recommended action to move to award the contract for Long Lake Submerged Aquatic Vegetation Control to Aqua Technics in an amount not to exceed $480,000. Likewise, on January 13th, 2022, a total of 3 proposals were received by companies specializing in aquatic pesticide applications to perform submerged aquatic vegetation control for the Long Lake Management District. These proposals were received in response to the request for proposal advertised on December 18th in the Olympian and on Thurston County RFP webpage. Public Works evaluated and scored the proposals based on the contractor's qualifications, experience, field and data recording expertise, and reasonable cost estimates. The proposals were equitably reviewed by a panel of 3 Public Works employees, and the highest scoring contractor was chosen. The highest ranking proposal was also received from Aqua Technics LLC of Centralia, Washington. And this contract will provide for planning and implementing aquatic vegetation control using herbicides applied following Thurston County's Integrated Pest Management Program policy and the guidelines for Washington State Department of Ecology's Aquatic Plant and Algae Management Permit, which Thurston County manages and maintains. Your herbicide applications will reduce excess vegetation, including noxious weeds, which negatively impact water quality and reduce recreational opportunities on each lake. Herbicide application projects, treatment areas are determined by county staff and LNB steering committee volunteers who work in a partnership to complete work plans to improve and preserve the health of Long Lake. Funding for this contract will be provided by the Long Lake Management District annual budget. This action is in alignment with County Strategic Plan Initiative 9 to support environmental health and climate stabilization. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Paula. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, but I am prepared to make a motion.
Okay, and then I have just the same request that I had with the previous motion. Okay, sir, I'm ready for a motion.
I would move to award the contract for Long Lake Submerged Aquatic Vegetation Control to Aqua Technics LLC of Centralia, Washington for the amount not to exceed $480,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentor is excused. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, moving forward to item C. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Set a public hearing to consider a contract for solid waste operations, maintenance, transport, and disposal services. And I'll hand this off to Jeff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jeff Bickford, Solid Waste Manager of Public Works. Give you a little background on this. Thurston County Public Works operates 3 solid waste disposal facilities for disposal of both commercial and residential municipal solid waste that's collected in our county. While the scale house, toll house, and other household hazardous waste operations are staffed and managed by county staff, the recycling and municipal solid waste operations, maintenance, transport, and disposal services are managed through contractual agreements. During 2018, the Board of County Commissioners deliberated extensively on available options for the expiring contracts. And in October 2018, they authorized staff to proceed with a request for proposals, an RFP, for solid waste operations, maintenance, transport, and disposal services. To meet these objectives, an evaluation committee was established, including community stakeholders from the various county and municipal jurisdictions, to develop the evaluation criteria and participate in the review and scoring of the submitted proposals. As an additional step to ensure that the best possible RFP process was followed and to identify any major flaws with that RFP, a 60-day proposal pre-review period was provided September 18th to November 18th of 2020 for the potential proposers to review and provide input on the draft RFP and contract. Revisions were made to the documents based upon the feedback from those proposers, and the final RFP was released on January 13th of 2021, and we received the proposals on April 8th, 2021. The RFP process resulted in the submission of 3 proposals. These proposals were scored based upon the published evaluation criteria. The evaluation committee convened to compile scoring results and rank the proposals based on their aggregate scores, and subsequently provided a consensus recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners on the highest scoring proposer. At their meeting on June 29th, 2021, the Board of County Commissioners passed a resolution directing staff to begin contract negotiations with the highest scoring proposer. So those contract negotiations were held from July through November of 2021, and a draft contract for solid waste operations, maintenance, transport, and disposal services has been prepared and reviewed by staff, legal counsel, as well as the proposing company. Staff has met with the Board of County Commissioners in executive session several times to review this draft contract, and answer questions regarding this contract. On February 3rd, 2022, the Board of County Commissioners authorized the Public Works Department to bring forth an AIS to set a public hearing to consider this proposed contract. So the next step is to hold a public hearing to consider the draft contract. A notice will be published twice in the official county newspaper of record, and we are requesting a public hearing be set for March 22nd, 2022 at 3 p.m. And that I'm willing to answer any other questions.
Thank you, Jeff. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, ma'am. Prepared to make a motion.
Okay, I'm ready.
I would move to set a public hearing for March 22nd, 2022, beginning at 3 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard, in room 280, building 1 of the Thurston County Courthouse, 2000 Lake Ridge Drive Southwest, Olympia, Washington, to consider a contract for solid waste operations, maintenance, transport, and disposal services.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer is excused. Commissioner Mejia.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. With that, we'll go into our standing items. Commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards, we'll start with you.
Just real quickly, Fire Commissioners, EMS Council, Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Governing Board, and the Canvassing Board. Nothing of super interest. I mean, it's all interesting, but no real issues for those activities other than the Canvassing Board. The Canvassing Board was quite interesting, and if anybody wants to follow through on their expertise in the elections of individuals in this county, they ought to get follow through with the canvassing board on ditch district election, because that was quite interesting. I'll just let it go at that. Quite a process having to do with the ditch district election process. So maybe a civics class in the future from the county auditor. Thank you. That's all I have to report, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. And thank you so much again for covering that meeting for me. I was not in the office last week, so I do not have any board work sessions to report on. With that, I'll pass it on to the county manager. We'll review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of February 22nd, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me walk you through your combined schedule where at least the commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. So those will not be part of my report. Starting here in a few minutes, you have two public hearings. One is related to an application received by Ed Inlet Community Water Association for a non-exclusive franchise, followed by Scott Lake Maintenance Company for a non-exclusive franchise. Both public hearings, you will have a couple of options on your agenda this afternoon. One to close the public hearing, and the other one is to approve the application depending on the public testimony on both public hearings. Moving on to Wednesday, tomorrow, February 23rd. At 11 in the morning, you have an executive session related to the Community Action Council. Before you leave today, I will hand it over some documents for you to read in preparation to the executive session. 3 in the afternoon, tomorrow, Wednesday, February 23rd, you have a briefing from the Thurston Economic Development Council update at 3 in the afternoon. Thursday, February 24th, at 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the Thurston Strong initiative here in the county. And at 10, February 24th, you have your regular commissioners check-in. I will touch base with both commissioners if you'd like to have this meeting or not, but at least it's in your calendar for now. Nothing on your combined schedule on Friday, February 25th. On Saturday, February 26th, 1 in the afternoon, you have been invited to participate on the Howard Point dedication that will be located at 918 Glass Avenue Northeast in Olympia, Washington. Moving on to Monday, February 28th, you have your standing Washington State Association of Counties virtual assembly at noon. And at 3 in the afternoon, you have the Climate Action Steering Committee. I believe Commissioner either Mejia or Commissioner Edwards will cover for Commissioner Menser. That's what is in your master calendar. So we'll define what that is. And then on Tuesday, March 1st, you will come back here on your regular agenda setting at 9 in the afternoon, followed by 2 in the afternoon, regular Board of County Commissioners meeting. That is all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, with that, we are adjourned and we will be back at 3 for the 2 public meetings, and they are in a different Zoom. Thank you very much.